The crowd in front of the embassy had no weapons, did they, Colonel?
Objection. We found no sniper's weapons either.
Yes, they had weapons. You think there's a script for fighting a war without pissing somebody off? Follow the rules and nobody gets hurt? Yes, innocent people probably died. Innocent people always die. But I did not exceed my order.
There are rules, and Marines are sworn to uphold them.
I was not going to stand by and see another Marine die just to live by those fucking rules.
Colonel!
Your Honor, I request a recess.
Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you in our unrated and underappreciated movie review series, and in this edition we will focus on the powerful military drama Rules of Engagement. Released on April 7th, 2000, it stars Tommy Lee Jones, Samuel L. Jackson, Guy Pearce, Bruce Greenwood and Ben Kingsley, and it was directed by William Freidkin. Now the story of Rules of Engagement follows two experienced Marines, Harry Hodges and Terrry Childers, who served together during Vietnam. Hayes is forever indebted to Childers after he goes to extreme measures to save him after his platoon is killed in an ambush. Fast forward to 28 years later, and Hodges retires, having practiced a career in law. Childers continues his military career and is assigned to Yemen in Southeast Asia to rescue a UN ambassador who comes under heavy assault from a peaceful protest that breaks into riots. Having saved the ambassador, Childers and his men come under heavy gunfire attacks. Feeling that there's no other option but to retaliate, Childers gives the order to fire back, and as a result, 83 civilians, consisting of women and children, are killed. Fearing the ramifications of this international incident, UN Senator Bill Sokol seeks to make an example of Childers by court-martialing him to possible life imprisonment and even the death penalty. Feeling that there's no one else he can trust, Childers asks Hodges to defend him in court to prove that he didn't commit murder by carrying out the proper rules of engagement. Having to compete with young prosecution lawyer Major Briggs, Hodges has to determine whether Childers is telling the truth, and if so, somehow defend his case in court successfully. Now, Rules of Engagement is a terrific, compelling film full of engrossing subject matter and themes, and also superb performances. I often state that the best movies are the ones that cover multiple themes with an overall message or purpose behind them. These movies have you asking important questions long after the film has finished. Now, in terms of this film, the questions are whether the right decisions have been made even though it costs lives. We cover government conspiracy and potential manipulation of evidence and media and the truth. How loyal do we stay to a friend even though they could have done something terrible? What extremes level do we go in order to protect ourselves, to protect others? And are we justified in those actions? How important is it for the truth to come out, and at what cost? And the film merges all of these elements together so well. It covers very similar territory as another strong film, Courage Under Fire, starring Denzel Washington and Meg Ryan. And that also carried an important lesson, and I'd probably say that Rules of Engagement is actually the superior movie. It does such a good job to keep every scene and character integral to the main narrative. It does touch on other issues such as media propaganda, international relations and antagonism, but never enough to deviate from the main plot, which is whether Childers made the right decision or not. The film starts off with two gripping extended action scenes, the first centering on Hodges and Childers' experience in Vietnam, and then later on where we see Childers' operation into the embassy, and both sequences have a real unflinching and violent intensity. And to be honest, you'd come to expect this from director William Freidkin, who did create such epic action sequences with the likes of both The French Connection and To Live and Die in LA. And this is where the movie really moves with an unrelenting pace, almost of around the first 45 minutes. As the narrative shifts more into courtroom drama, it still remains engrossing. Firstly, as we see Hodges reflecting on the injured civilians within Yemen, and then very much the climatic cross-examination between Briggs and Childers, where we get this intense back and forth, and it's truly riveting stuff. And as mentioned before, all of the cast performances are great. The movie is driven by two central lead performances, and with both Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel L. Jackson, you are simply talking about two of the best within the business. Samuel L. Jackson brings his typical fiery adversity, with enough here to understand that whilst Childers is fiercely committed to his career, he's not a monster or a psychopath. Tommy Lee Jones very much carries the second third of the movie as Hodges, who is much more of a self-reflective, humbled personality. We see that he has drinking problems and is still very troubled by flashbacks of Vietnam. He also conflicts with his family who disagree with him defending Childers. And it's a classy performance from one of cinema's truly great leading actors. And we also have to mention Guy Pearce, who also brings a certain energy to his character as Major Briggs. And this personality does walk a fine line between being committed and being arrogant, but it's still a fine performance from Guy Pearce, who I'd say is very much of an underrated actor and has a long-standing career within Hollywood as well. So if I had to give an overall score for Rules of Engagement, I would give it an 8.7 out of 10. So when we go on to the movie's overall release, and it grossed 71 million from a considerable budget of around $60 million. And it's very much of a forgotten movie within the careers of both Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel L. Jackson, which is a shame as I firmly believe as it's one of their finest movies. The movie did face some criticism, certain people claiming it to be racist because of its perceived portrayal of the Yemen communities, some claiming it to be Islamophobic, but I don't really think that's the case, because as mentioned before, the heart of the story is about a Marine making a decision whilst under fire and how that decision had big consequences. It's not necessarily about the races of the soldiers or indeed the civilians. It's not about painting stereotypes or trying to create good and bad characters. If anything, it's probably the US government that come off slightly more as the bad guys if there is to be any type of role within this film, and I firmly don't believe that it is. But despite all of that, Rules of Engagement remains a real compelling story with powerful themes, and I think an important message being bolstered as well by great performances. Rules of Engagement is definitely a movie that is both underrated and underappreciated and deserves far more recognition many years post its release. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and review of Rules of Engagement. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you'd like to see me review any other movies of this type or any other television series or cover any other issues within the entertainment industry and pop culture, then also let me know in the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very soon.